Congratulations! You made it through week 2. In this second week, we learned about the governance aspects of the Integrated Sustainable Waste Management Framework, namely stakeholders, financial sustainability and financing mechanisms, and institutions and policies. We started the week by presenting aspects related to policy and legislation in solid waste management. We saw the relevance of policies and strategies and their translation into legislation and regulations. These should be clear and enforceable. Furthermore, 3 different instruments to implement policies were mentioned, namely regulation and enforcement, social mobilization, and economic instruments. We then moved our attention to the public and private stakeholders in solid waste management. Public institutions are responsible for ensuring the protection of public health and the environment. Their responsibilities should be clearly divided, in particular those of the operators and the regulators, and transparency as well as accountability should be guaranteed. Regarding private stakeholders, we discussed the reasons and opportunities for municipalities to involve the private sector. We also mentioned the different types of collaboration and pointed out the need for clear objectives and careful preparation of tender documents. We then looked at the informal sector in solid waste management and visualized the actors in a pyramid. We pointed out their significant role in solid waste management and their activities along the complete waste chain. We highlighted different measures to improve the working conditions of the informal sector. For example, organization in cooperatives, recycling closer to the source, etc. After looking to public, private, and informal stakeholders, we covered the roles that community members can play in solid waste management and the consequent benefits. We first mentioned special community members, such as leaders, women, and youth, and we then specially focused on community-based organizations. We covered their different organizational structures as well as several social and management problems they face. We then presented an example of a public awareness campaign in Coimbatore, India. We pointed out the different aspects that made this campaign a success. Later in the week, we talked about money. We highlighted that knowing the total costs of providing municipal solid waste services is very important. Often, costs are not fully known, which makes it difficult to develop effective improvement measures. We distinguished between investment and operational and maintenance costs, and we saw the most common sources of funds in order to cover each of them. We pointed out that operation and maintenance costs are often very high, being collection often the largest share. We also talked about the difficulty to achieve full cost recovery, which is related to affordability of fees on behalf of the city dwellers. It is important to set fair and effective user charges and how to enforce payment. We also mentioned crops subsidizing as a possible method to cover expenses. Last but not least, we presented an example for calculating the costs of a hypothetical case. So that was all for the second week. If you have any experiences related to the content of this week, I invite you now to share these experiences in the forum. Join us for the next exciting week.